Okay, so I'm making this video on how to take apart the WJ steering box and tap it for hydro assist. I already took the box apart once, so it's going to go pretty quick. Other than that, I've never had a steering box apart before. So it sits in the WJ like this part on the inside of the frame rail. After you get it all removed, first you want to make sure the steering was centered, otherwise you're not going to be able to get this input shaft out. Here's the steer sector input cover. Output shaft runs this way to the pitman arm, and then the output shaft retainer up on top here. So we'll go ahead and remove the pitman arm nut. It's a 33 mil. Probably gonna have to use a pitman arm puller. That's what I had to do. And then next, we will remove the 4 15 mil retaining bolts. So my cover was pretty seized in there. I kind of had to air hammer it to break it free. And then also I had to air hammer inside there to kind of help get it out. But now it should come out pretty easy. And as I pull it out here, you'll see the teeth as they come out. If it's too far one way, it'll hit and you won't be able to get it out. So once you get the shaft out, you want to clean up this area with like a Scotch pad. And then up here, you have an O-ring that seals everything that's going to be replaced. Go ahead and set that aside. Next, we will remove the sector input housing. 3 15 mil bolts. That'll come off also. There's also an O-ring right there. That's also going to get replaced. And the sector input seal, which will be replaced. The kit that I got from O'Reilly's is this guy here. 87.74. It's 20 bucks. And now we have the input shaft. Reminder, once you get that output shaft out, do not spin the input shaft, otherwise the roller balls inside there are going to fall out and you're going to have a mess. So before we can pull this cylinder assembly out, there's a snap ring inside here that we're going to go ahead and remove. So the snap ring does have a bevel to it. You can kind of see it there. That bevel goes to the outside. The flat part goes on the inside. Now with that out of the way, straight pull on that shaft to remove the whole cylinder, trying not to rotate. It's going to be kind of tough to get out past the O-rings and everything. Once it's out, there it is. There's that main sealing O-ring that's going to get replaced, and 4 there and 1 right there. Go ahead and set that aside. Now you pretty much have the bare case. This was the input shaft, and where you're going to tap is right on top here. We got this big flat surface. I already center punched it, but there's this port here. This port goes all the way back to the back side of here to pressurize the cylinder either way, and then that will turn the output shaft. So go ahead and cut a hole there. Sorry, drill a hole. And then the other spot is right off this rib, about 3/8 of an inch. Center punched a hole as well, where we're going to be drilling and tapping. You still have the output shaft seal in there. There's also bearings. Other than that, this is pretty much empty. So go ahead and clean everything up, and we will drill and tap these holes. I just got done drilling the 2 holes. Here's the first one, down through there, and there's the second one. That one's a pretty thin one, went pretty quick. Again, this is the steering sector input, output down there. There you go. Well, there it is, all done. both holes tapped. I tighten them down. Just when you're tapping on this one, probably go about halfway and keep test fitting with a 1/4 inch plug. With this one you have to make a bottoming tap. You just take a regular 1/4 inch MPT tap and cut about a 1/4 inch off the bottom. Otherwise it starts to bottom out in the hole there and then your pipe won't start. So then you just start that bottom tap again, go in about halfway, but always keep checking to make sure this is going to thread far enough. You don't want to get too far and have it sink in where it's not going to make a good seal. Now we're just going to put everything back together. Got all the O-rings changed out. Well, there it is, all done. Both holes tapped. I tighten them down. Just when you're tapping on this one, probably go about halfway and keep test fitting with a 1/4 inch plug. With this one you have to make a bottoming tap. You just take a regular 1/4 inch MPT tap and cut about a 1/4 inch off the bottom. Otherwise it starts to bottom out in the hole there and then your pipe won't start. So then you just start that bottom tap again, go in about halfway, but always keep checking to make sure this is going to thread far enough. You don't want to get too far and have it sink in where it's not going to make a good seal. Now we're just going to put everything back together. Got all the O-rings changed out. So when you replace the steering sector input seal, you have to have the cover off, and the seal and the inner bearing there will drive out that way. Pay attention to which way the bearing is in there. The smooth surface will rest against the back of the seal. Also make sure you have the seal installed the right way. For the output sector seal, you have this guy is in there this way. This is the first seal on the outside. This one is kind of protects everything from getting in. Just use a screwdriver and pop that out. And there's a snap ring and a washer in there. That's your next one to take out. So for installing the new output shaft seal, you have this seal here, has plastic on one side of it. That's going to be facing out. I'm using an 1 1/8" socket to drive it on in there. Just use that and a hammer. There it kind of changed tone a little bit when it bottomed out. Then it comes with a new retaining washer and a new clip. So make sure that's seated all the way in there. The next is the dust shield. Goes in this way. And there you have it. And here it is, the completed drilled and tapped gearbox. There, over there. This is in the Jeep like so. Engine side. Top side.